Picture this. You are at dinner with friends and someone casually says they need to upgrade their cloud storage because they are out of space. Everyone nods like they totally get it, tossing around words like gigabytes and monthly plans. But here is the part that always cracks me up. If I asked you to point to where your photos actually live when they are in the cloud, most people would instinctively gesture somewhere above their head. We have all been participating in this quiet little agreement where we pretend the cloud makes sense without ever picturing what it really is. I am Tim, and today I am going to show you exactly what happens when you save something to the cloud in a way that finally feels real. If you like Tech Explained without the headache, take 1 second to subscribe now. It helps me keep making simple, honest breakdowns like this. Let me start by punching the biggest myth right in the face. The cloud is not floating anywhere. There are no digital raindrops gently holding your vacation photos in the sky. Calling it the cloud is marketing brilliance because it makes something ordinary sound magical. Here is the truth that changes everything. The cloud is just someone else's computer. That is it. Every time you back up a photo, save a document, or stream a movie, you are using a computer that belongs to a giant company, and you are basically renting a tiny slice of its storage. Now I know what you are thinking. If it is just a computer, why does everyone act like it is so complicated? Because these are not the kind of computers sitting under your desk at home. Imagine the most boring industrial building you have ever seen. No windows, concrete walls, nothing interesting outside. Inside, it is rows and rows of metal racks from floor to ceiling like the world's most organized library. Except instead of books, those shelves are packed with flat boxes called servers. Each server is basically a computer with a very specific job: store data and hand it back when asked. Those buildings are called data centers, and they are the warehouses that hold huge chunks of modern life. Companies keep them cold because thousands of machines running at once produce a ridiculous amount of heat. If the temperature climbs, hardware starts failing and failures are expensive. They also lock these places down hard because they are literally holding customer data for millions of people. Think layers of access control, surveillance, and careful physical security. Not every data center is identical, but the overall idea is the same. These are not casual closets full of computers. They are serious infrastructure. So when you take a photo and decide to back it up to the cloud, what actually happens? Think of your phone as a small backpack you carry everywhere. That backpack holds the essentials of your daily digital life. Apps, recent photos, messages, downloads, cached stuff you forgot existed. But backpacks fill up. When you hit that storage warning, you basically have 3 options: delete things, buy a phone with more storage, or rent a locker somewhere else, meaning the cloud. Choosing cloud storage is like renting a locker inside one of those big secured warehouses. When you upload a photo, you are putting it onto the internet and sending it to a data center. Your phone chops the file into pieces, pushes it through your Wi-Fi or cellular connection, and it travels through networks and cables until it reaches the company's servers. When it arrives, the system checks that you are allowed to store data there. Then it places that photo into your account's allocated space on their machines. But here's where it gets interesting. The cloud companies assume hardware will fail, because hardware always fails. Drives die, servers crash, power systems get tested, humans make mistakes. So many providers do not keep just one copy of your file sitting on one lonely machine. They create extra copies, often across multiple drives, often across multiple servers, and sometimes across multiple locations or regions depending on the service and settings. This is called redundancy, and it is the reason you can lose your phone and still pull up your photos like nothing happened. Your data is not relying on a single piece of metal staying healthy forever. That leads to the obvious question. If it is just storage, why do we pay for it? Some cloud storage starts free, but eventually you hit a limit. And what you are really paying for is not just a hard drive. You are paying for the building, the electricity, the cooling, the networking, the security, the engineers, the maintenance, and the promise that when you tap your screen at midnight, your stuff shows up. You are chipping in for a massive machine that runs all day, every day. Now here comes the part that confuses everyone. If your photos are in the cloud, why does your phone still run out of space? Go back to the backpack idea. The cloud is like a warehouse locker, but your phone is still the backpack. To actually do things with files, your phone often needs local space. When you edit a photo, your device may download a full resolution copy temporarily. Apps live on your phone. Messages, downloads, thumbnails, and caches pile up. So even if you technically have a mountain of storage in the cloud, your backpack can still get stuffed. The solution is learning how phones balance the backpack and the warehouse. That is why you see features like optimized storage. The device keeps smaller versions or previews locally, while the big originals live in the cloud. When you tap a photo, it grabs the high-quality version quickly, shows it to you, and then may remove that temporary local copy later to keep space free. It feels like the photo is always on your phone, but behind the scenes, it is more like your phone is fetching what it needs on demand. This is also the same basic idea behind streaming. You are not permanently downloading the entire movie to your phone in most cases. You are pulling pieces of it from someone else's computer as you watch. The data flows to you just long enough to be useful, then the next chunk replaces it. That is how you can watch a giant video file without storing the whole thing. And honestly, the part that still blows my mind is how normal this has become. We built a global system of digital warehouses that can hand information to billions of devices with absurd speed. Tap a photo that is stored far away, and it appears on your screen almost instantly. That is not magic. It is cables, networks, data centers, and engineering discipline working together so well that it feels like magic. These companies also solved a bunch of unglamorous problems most people never think about. Keeping servers running reliably, moving data around when one machine fails, balancing load so 1 million people can access files at once, cooling rooms full of hot electronics, securing access so random strangers cannot just walk in and browse your stuff, and then packaging all of that into a user experience so smooth that we barely notice how much machinery is involved. The economic trick is also part of why it works. Instead of you building your own mini fortress with backup power, redundant internet connections, and round-the-clock monitoring, millions of people share the cost of gigantic infrastructure. You pay a few dollars a month, and in return, you get access to systems that would be wildly expensive to run alone. So the next time someone talks about the cloud like it is a mysterious fog hovering above the planet, you can gently correct the picture in your head. The cloud is not in the sky. It is a network of data centers full of servers. When you upload a file, you are sending it to someone else's computer in a secured facility somewhere. When you stream, you are borrowing storage and bandwidth from that infrastructure for a moment. And when you pay for cloud space, you are paying for reliability, availability, and the convenience of having your stuff reachable from anywhere. Stop pointing upward when someone mentions the cloud. Picture warehouses. Picture racks of servers. Picture a system quietly making copies, verifying access, and delivering your files back to you on demand. The cloud is not magic, but once you understand what is really happening, the real story is honestly more impressive than the fluffy metaphor ever was. If this made the cloud finally click, subscribe to Tim Explains Tech. I will keep turning confusing tech into something you can actually picture, without the jargon and without the nonsense.